Dalton, Texas. Today is January 28th, 2018. It's the 6-year anniversary of the murder attempt, capital murder attempt in my life that crippled me and destroyed my life, ended my career. And it's been nonstop terrorism ever since. It's really exposed collusion and corruption with the press and the Texas Rangers and the FBI and politicians and you know, people that you think are good people, churches, you know, it's amazing. And you know, the one thing that's going to be clear, that is clear, is the truth and the evidence is on my side, you know. And all along I am the crime victim, and the facts are on my side. I promised that I'd create an event timeline, time-stamped evidence just for this day 6 years ago, and then the next day, because it carried on into the night, and that's what I'm going to go over here. And so let me flip this over here, and we'll get it going on here. Okay, hopefully you can read that. I've got just a notepad. It's a list of events that I've got pictures over here on this side. It was just another day. By the time January 28, 2012 happened, I had already, you know, my first call for a burglary was 14 months before this. By that time, I'd already called the police, the Texas Rangers, the FBI, and I reported a suspected smuggling tunnel to the DEA 2 weeks earlier. I can prove that. My phone records will prove that. Okay, and so there's total breakdown in all the system before they shot me and left me for dead. Okay, and so on Monday I had plans. I even had my, I believe I had my boarding passes. I was flying out of town to a business trip, you know. I mean, I had plans for my life, you know, and I had started working for this company when I was 18, you know, and here I was a 28-year company man, really 30 years, you count the 2 years I contracted, and all of a sudden it was over with one bullet, you know. I mean, you know, somebody comes into my home with a gun, points it at me while I ain't looking, pulls the trigger, and changed my life forever. And so, and I'm sure they didn't plan on me being crippled. They planned on killing me. And you know, as is widely known, my life insurance booklets were taken a couple weeks earlier. My sister-in-law told me she's seen on Mitzi, said she's seen them books while they were gone, and then this house is next to the underground facility, and so that's obviously a big part of them wanting to steal the home, and so that's probably part of the motive. Anyway, let's start with the time-stamped evidence. At 10:52 a.m. I woke up and turned my computer on. Okay, and when I did, my camera automatically started. Okay, and so it's going to show you right here at 10:52. YawCam started. YawCam is just another webcam application. It turns a just a regular webcam into a security camera with the software downloaded as shareware, and it started up automatically. So I knew what time I got up. Okay, we're going to see later at 8:08 it was terminated. I didn't do that, and then I was shot at 10:42 p.m. crawling out because my phone lines were cut, and so that was terminated in preparation to come in. I think it happened at the same time my phone lines were cut and my cell phone was taken, and then it starts back up the next day, which is in the morning at 3:16 a.m. when my computer's rebooted. Obviously, the secret police come in, seen the camera. They didn't want to get caught covering up a murder attempt, so they tried to disable the camera by rebooting the computer, not knowing that it would start. So they actually caught themselves, you know. And I give God all the praise and glory, you know, for that. At 3:36, that's the first picture of the secret police seen inside my home. And so they were probably here before, but the camera wasn't running, okay? And so, because there's multiple timestamps there, I'll reference that again. At 4:25 p.m. that afternoon, okay, I sent an email to my sister-in-law, Mitzi, okay? And here it is, 4:25, 12 hours earlier, okay? And basically this email talked about, I told her that I contacted the police department over the inconsistencies and the stories about my mom's death on December 7th, the month before my mom died over in Hobbs, and I found out I was lied to, and I wondered if my mom's death was connected to the crimes going on here, because I was at that time I had people breaking my home on a regular basis and terrorizing me, and then mom dies, okay, and then I found out I was lied to, so I contacted, so I told my sister-in-law that, Mitzi Webb, and we're going to see here in a minute on the event log, she forwards the same email to my oldest daughter about 12 minutes after I crawled out after I shot. And then my oldest daughter forwards it to Detective Rosa Rodriguez at 2:02 a.m. before that Rosa Rodriguez got caught sneaking in my home and stealing evidence. So I'll talk more about that in a minute. Okay. And so at 8:08, I already showed you that the camera was disabled. I believe that's the same time that my home phone line was cut and my cell phone was taken. And it was all preparation to kill me, and because I was shot at point blank range by surprise from a person under my home 2 weeks after reporting a tunnel to the DEA, right, with my phone lines cut. And then my cameras I put in. The reason I had cameras put in is because all the crimes that were going on, I put them in myself. And at 10:42, I'm crawling out, and that's when I figured out I had no communications. My cell phone disappeared, and all of a sudden my home line's disconnected, and then I get shot by surprise. They tried to kill me, okay? And so you see me crawling out at 10:42. Everything now's before or after the murder attempt. Lights turned off in car in my driveway. Okay, now there's a video of this as I'm crawling out. Okay, here you see the lights on. Okay, I scream for help outside. I actually scream for help inside, and then I come outside and I scream for help again. And the lights are on, and the lights get turned off. That proves somebody was sitting in the car, and they heard me scream, and they turned the lights off. I believe what they were doing was running the heater because it was a very cold night, waiting for me to die, and it looks like their burglar friend was trapped in my guest bathroom. And so they were here waiting for me to die so they could go and get their burglar friend out or whatever. But that proves somebody's at my house. I mean, that was more proof that I was shot during a home invasion, okay? This was no accident, okay? This was premeditated murder. I'm home minding my own business. They come to my home and shot me. Okay, at 10:54, sister-in-law forwards daughter email. Now, I showed you that already. That was email about my mom telling her that I had contacted the Hobbs Police Department. And if you're an investigator, you can contact the Hobbs Police Department. They're going to have a record of it. So is the Lee County Sheriff's Department, okay? And they have a record of that email that I sent them. Okay, 11:01. Okay, this has come from my cameras. Okay, you see two police cars arrive. The first one's a marked car. It's real easy to see. And this one looks like a Crown Vic, white Crown Vic. And then you see the two police officers in tan uniforms get out. This one, you can tell he's got a holster on. I mean, these are absolutely 100% law enforcement. And this is 11:01. I'm shot at 10:42. They show up. My attorney subpoenaed the records. They were not dispatched. Nobody can tell me who they are. I just survived a murder attempt, and these guys show up. And the first thing they do is disable the cameras on the front of my house. They're obviously involved in this murder attempt. It is imperative that we identify them before they do this to somebody else, and I suspect they have. Okay? They must be identified. I was told that one of them was the late Sheriff Deputy Mike Naylor, who I believe was married to a woman in Hobbs, Mexico, and that's where I'm from. Okay, so first secret police arrive, and there it is, caught on camera. Okay, I know they disabled my cameras because here's the camera. Okay, and what they did was rotate it to look at the house, and it's timestamped. So I know for a fact what the exact minute that they did the other one on the other side. Now, when I got out of the hospital, I didn't have all this information I do now, and I only saved little clips, you know, and I saved these little clips that gave me these timestamps, but there was a lot that got overwritten, and I don't have it anymore. But I do know for a fact these secret police in tan uniforms showed up minutes after I shot without being dispatched to disable my cameras minutes after I survived a murder attempt, shot by surprise in my home, okay? And so that ought to tell you right off the bat, this is capital attempted murder. Just the fact they're secret police, and just the fact we can't get them, identified even with a reward offered, $2,000 reward offered. Okay, at 11:27 p.m., nurse documents me saying, alarms were going off at my house. This is the nurse's notes from the medical records. The nurse is taking notes. It's timestamp. 11:27. Remember, I'm shot at 10:42. She's writing down what I'm saying. Patient stated. Okay. There are sirens going off. The alarms kept going off. Now, I recorded last night a burglar alarm going off my house, and this has happened over and over again. I mean, they've gone off. I've been in the bathtub, and we're talking 6 years later. I mean, story after story after story, people are still breaking this home. I seen a young Hispanic guy in my attic one day. I heard him fart and cough and fall down, drop their gun, etc. Okay, possibly human trafficking and maybe illegals. We don't know. It could be an issue with ICE and that we don't know. But for a fact, somebody's breaking in this home, and they were breaking in the home on the night. But this night was different. They were setting them off over and over and over. I think they were trying to herd me like an animal to get me in front of where they got a kill shot. They wanted me to walk in front of that cabinet where they'd shoot me from inches away and shoot me right at an artery. I had no phone lines. I'd bleed out and die. And then they'd laugh all the way to the bank, cash the insurance checks and get the house for free and all that. Okay. 12:03, a few minutes later. Okay. She's documenting what I'm saying. I was talking on a white voice recorder in case something happens to me and saying what they were doing in my house. I had proof. Go look, there's proof. This voice recorder was also recording the burglar alarms going off. It proved I was shot during a home invasion. And so, it's an absurd to say this is an accident. There was no way it's an accident. I'm home by myself. I'm under a home invasion, and then I'm shot. Okay? And so at the same minute, the nurse documents, Detective Rodriguez has my necklace and is going to give it to my brother Danny. Okay. Now I don't know how she knows or if she knows my brother, and then I called him later and he didn't even know anything about the necklace, and so that's kind of strange. But you know what happened because the nurse documented it, and I think this nurse saw something's fishy because she documented what the badge number was of Rodriguez. I think she sensed that what was going on here was fishy, and it was fishy. Let me tell you, it was real fishy. They were covering up a capital crime, and so that was the nurse's notes. Okay, and XREF made the 3 police reports. Okay. This one right here is the police report from December 20th, 2011, 5 weeks earlier. Police are called to my house, okay, and not by me, by the person who's living here with me. And Blake Bush showed up, Trent Solar shows up, and this night I'm taken by one of them. I'm putting in the back of a police car. I already had a bag of pot or marijuana laying in the seat, and I'm told we better not be called over here again for this stuff. And this stuff was calls for repeated calls for burglaries that I thought were connected to human trafficking, to prostitution. Okay. And so I get back in the house that night, and then I'm told by the person living here, we're creating a document trail on you. Okay. That's when I got to thinking maybe they created a document trail on the last guy that died 2 weeks before I bought this home, Mike Lawhon. And that makes sense. And then what I later found on this report from the 20th in December, that minutes after I crawled out, there was a XREF or a reference comment made by some secret police. I have a feeling whoever made this was one of the secret police that was caught on camera. And that was the pre-planned document trail 5 weeks in advance. So it looks like police might have been planning my murder 5 weeks in advance. It's very important to figure out who did these. And it was on 3 different police reports, but this is one of them here. And they wanted to reference a gun. Because remember, they're trying to call me crazy. But the story's crazy, but the evidence and the truth's on my side. I'm sure not crazy. Okay, I was a 28-year company man. Remember that. Okay. ER doctor orders x-rays. Okay, and I'm going to show you that real quick. Okay. Here I'm at the hospital. ER doctor, timestamp 11:35. Emergency room doctor orders 3 x-rays. Okay. Lab tech that logged in as user and interface canceled the doctor's orders and changed it to 2. Okay. I can't find out who that is. I can't sue them. I can't go, that person faked my x-rays, because they logged in with a generic ID that I can't get traced. I went to the hospital trying to figure out who that was, and I can't. Okay. And so, and these are some pictures of the x-rays. This was 4 months before I was shot. 9/28/11 to the day. And actually earlier today, I made a mistake on the date. I looked at this date and thought it was earlier in the day, but it was actually 4 months earlier. And it was when I broke my toe. But I got an x-ray of the heel bone, and that's important because here's when I'm shot. Before surgery, the heel bone is gone. You don't have to be a doctor to go that heel bone's gone. It's like you don't have to be a doctor to know somebody's missing an arm or leg. Okay, right? I mean, right? You don't have to be a doctor to know the heel bone's missing. And I hadn't had surgery yet. That's not my foot. That's not my pellets. That's not my bones. The only thing there is my name on it on the night that I'm shot. Okay. Dr. Hinton later said that he looked at my x-rays where I was shot on the 17th and that I had more x-rays on the 19th. And I believe somebody was shot on the 17th or 11 days before me, and that was their foot. And why did they do that? Because I lived, okay? They're trying to call this an accident, and they knew I had a shotgun. And so that's why they faked the x-ray. But absolute 100% for sure, the x-rays are faked. And we know who did it. It was user end interface, but we don't know who user end interface is. The other interesting thing is the ER doctor was my brother-in-law, and I didn't know that. I had just filed divorce on his sister-in-law 5 days earlier, okay, from a 3-month marriage. And she's the one that come in and had told me, she says, the secret is a group of doctors are killing people for profit. Okay. She didn't tell me that her brother-in-law was a doctor though. Yeah. And so maybe my other brother-in-law seen something fishy going on because the x-rays were falsified that night. Time-stamped evidence, 11:35. Okay. Here we are. Lab tech, nurse documents. Okay. Jen Ford's email to Rosie about the Hobbs Police Department and my mom, okay, at 2:02. At 2:14, the second email. Now, I didn't get these emails till 18 months afterwards in the protective order case. My attorney subpoenaed the records. And that's when I found out, because I would have had no idea my daughter was in communications with Secret Police Rosa Rodriguez, and until we subpoenaed them records. And then I'm looking at the timestamps. But this email I sent to family and friends over a year before I'm shot and said, just in case something happens to me, it won't be an accident. Okay, so my daughter forwards that to the detective that I told my family and friends a year in advance, if something happens to me, it won't be an accident. Okay, and that detective sneaks into my house, steals the evidence I told her about, and rules this an accident. I kid you not. Okay, you've seen it with your own eyes right there. Okay, user-initiated log off. Okay, so we're following the chronological order here. Okay, at 3:15 a.m. on 129. Okay, I'm shot 128 at 10:42. And midnight rolls around at 3:15 in the morning. My computer is rebooted. It shows it here. It's a user-initiated log off. Okay, so that was done. Somebody was there, logged in with me and did it. Okay. And what they didn't know is that this started the camera. Remember when I turned on my computer, it starts the camera working. When they rebooted my computer, it started the camera because the camera wasn't on since 8 o'clock or whatever, 8:08. And but what obviously what happened, secret police come in, they look down, they go, oh, there's a camera. We sure don't want to be caught on camera covering up a capital murder attempt. Let's reboot the computer and disable the camera, not knowing that when they reboot the computer, they turned the camera on and it caught them covering up a capital murder attempt, and so that's really what that is. I want to say that the police report for 12912 shows no police at my home. Okay, so officially no police were at my home. So they're just criminals in cop costumes. They need to be arrested for impersonating police officers. Except we believe they are dirty cops covering up a murder attempt. Okay, and that's why we can't get them arrested. And and nobody's denying it. They ignore it. That's what they do. And this ain't littering. This is capital attempted murder. They're killing people, breaking into homes, and killing people. Okay, and remember the last homeowner died 2 weeks before I bought this home. Okay, so y'all cam started back up. So then 20 minutes later, first pictures of the secret police. Well, that's because they started the camera. Okay, and so I didn't put them all here, but I put a few here. Their time stamp 3:36. This one got a bun on the head. That is April Chandler, even though the police report says she wasn't there. Okay, I put this one because this guy's wearing glasses, and one of the guys that was there on December 20th, 5 weeks before, was wearing glasses. It was either Trent Sellers or Blake Bush, but one of them was wearing glasses. It may be this guy, I'm not sure. And because these guys are secret police, right? We know who was here the 20th. This guy, somebody should recognize. He's a heavyset guy. Here he is again. Here's this guy. I think that might be Chad Simpson, actually. Okay. And I think we missed it in one of the earlier pictures. There it is, Midland K-9 police jacket. In 2014, a Midland K-9 police officer murdered his wife. I think that was him. So I think one of these guys is a murderer, okay? And went on to murder somebody else when they should have been arrested, right? Because they're caught on camera in the capital murder time. Okay, April Chandler here is filling up a bag, okay, right here with stolen property, my stolen property, which that makes her a thief, right? Besides a liar, okay? But really, that's not her. Remember, no police are at my house, so that's just somebody that looks just like her, okay? And they're stealing, okay? And what's stolen is the voice recorder. She wrote on an internal police report that she found my voice recorder in my closet where I said it was, and she checked it in the evidence, but it's not there. She lied, period. That's it. She lied, okay? And but maybe a guy, Sergeant Matt Davis, took it because he checked in the other stuff that she said she found, and that's missing. And he's also from my hometown of Hobbs, New Mexico, or has many, many mutual friends. And so April, Matt, or both stole evidence to cover up a capital attempted murder. I mean, that's it. Person with the camera here, that's Rosa Rodriguez. You can't see it there, but you'll see it in a minute. There's a better picture, April Chandler. She's leaned over, looking behind the nightstand. That's where my stolen cell phone was found, okay? And here in a minute, we're going to see Rosa leaned over that cabinet, and I believe she was putting it back, okay? And so evidently, there's a connection obviously, between the police and the people that stole my cell phone, set me up to be murdered in advance, okay? Obviously, okay? Here's the booty bag over here with April Chandler. Here's April carrying the bag. What's interesting here, at the end, these pictures were all the other police are gone out of the room. And that's when you see Rosie leaned over the nightstand. I believe she was putting my stolen cell phone back there. She was planting it. That's what she's doing. Because when I got home, my phone's working again, and my cell phone's back there behind there. But it wasn't there when I shot. They had stole it, and so whoever stole it gave it to her, and she put it back while I'm in surgery at the time, okay? And this is, I can tell, this is April Chandler. So them two are the only two left in the room. And so maybe the other police didn't know everything that was going on there. I don't know, And this is a better, clearer picture of Rosa Rodriguez, Detective Rosa Rodriguez. And officially it's not her. It's just somebody that looks just like her, right? Because officially they wasn't at my home. And then here's April Chandler searching my drawers, okay? 3 days later was the only known entry by police, and you see somebody searching the drawers again. They obviously didn't know that April had already searched these drawers, because officially April's not there. Officially they didn't search my drawers. Officially they didn't stage the crime scene. Officially they didn't plant evidence. Officially they didn't steal evidence, They're covering up a murder attempt. This is the police report. Okay, 129.12, there is no police report for 128.12, or we wasn't given it when we subpoenaed it. And that's real possible because there's a massive cover-up going on here to cover up, to murder people in their homes and on this failed murder. Okay, and the only entry for this whole day is test call. Okay, so it's even been wondered if they put a tap on my line because I'm the crime victim that they failed to murder. And so it'd be very convenient to monitor all my communications so they could counter any kind of actions that I'm trying to make to expose them for their part in covering up the capital attempted murder on my life. And so there's much more than this. This is just the time-stamped evidence from these 2 days. I've already shown lab reports that shows that ballistic evidence, I couldn't have been shot with my own gun. The size of pellets are 2.5 times size different than my foot. There's just tons and tons of evidence and events that happen and crimes that happen. These felony burglaries that have gone on over and over and over again. And then the death threat, the guy, writes me and says, we have access to your residence at all times. No one will ever believe your story. You will be silenced. Not if, but when. And I wrote back and I said, when are you going to murder me, Lance? And I print screened it and posted it to my Facebook. And then I sent that death threat to the chief of police at the time, which was Robinson, and then retired. And so that's what's going on here. It's 6 years, and the crimes are still continuing. There's so many, I can't even count them. And so please, call law enforcement, and you have the right to ask them who the secret police are. You have the right to know who them doctors are. I can't tell you who they are, right? But we need them stopped, because if they'll do it to the guy that comes down here and volunteers to raise money for the United Way, right? If they'll do that to me, just think what they'll do to you, okay? These people will kill anybody if the money's right, and they must be stopped. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.